Promised Neverland Season 2 Episode 5 was a huge shock, not only for its continued divergence from its source that has angered both anime and manga fans alike, and even sparked a counter group, but all of that didn't matter because this week's episode of Promised Neverland was a massive improvement in quality, and at least based on first impressions, this episode is so far kind of one of the best episodes this season. So, we're going to talk about that, but also discuss events of the episode like Norman's merry gang of psychopaths, the heretical girl, and of course, our theories on where this series may be headed in the future after this bombshell of an episode. Gosh, I am so happy, you guys. Let's get into the video. So first off, wow. Holy shit. This episode was a true return to form for Promised Neverland. It was a complete 180. After it was revealed that the series would be taking an anime original path by essentially just cutting out 2 arcs, it seems that the last 2 episodes had some major stumbles that really hurt the series. This episode, though, really felt like we were getting back on track, and I was so happy because of it. Not only that, but the episode actually had me on edge with its final scene, which we will talk about later in the video. But I do want to preface this by saying, this does not mean that the last episode can be forgiven, you guys. Norman's reveal being lackluster, the absence of Mother Isabella still makes no sense, and of course, the plot holes. Though, speaking of which, I think it's important that we take notice that this episode actually went out of its way to address some of those plot holes and questions regarding Mujika and Sonju. One of my complaints in the previous episodes was how it didn't make sense that Mujika and Sonju said they don't eat humans, yet in episode 5 and 6 it is clearly shown that not eating humans will kill demons. Now, there are still a few things that don't make sense, but they did bring up that Sonju and Mujika are these humanoid demons that they may not need to feed on humans because of that. Now, my complaint is, how in the hell did they not immediately think of this? Why did it have to be brought up now and not the first moment it happened? I don't know. But I am very glad that they addressed it sooner rather than later, but now is better, I would say. But the good qualities of this episode don't end here, as the pacing was pretty much on point throughout. No scene or moment in this episode felt like it was crammed into a mold that didn't fit in or was rushed. This episode had a clear story and point to it, which, yes, I can't believe I'm saying the episode in which Norman came back was pointless, but really, it kinda was. This episode showed that with a clear direction, you can take a flawed adaptation like this and still have thrilling and exciting, compelling episodes like this one. Gosh, I cannot express to you guys how happy I am that this episode wasn't a dumpster fire. Anyways, let's discuss their first interactions with Norman, because I think this is a very significant scene that is made a little weird because of Norman's rushed return to the series. On one hand, Norman's return was awful. It was like a deflated balloon. I mean, it wasn't very good. So with this scene, you think it would ruin the emotions and meaning behind it, but honestly, I'm kind of impressed. I felt every emotion with this scene and what they were going for. I felt happy for Norman's return, not confused by it, which makes me think that with episode 5, they shouldn't have ended on Norman being revealed, but instead waiting for him to take off the mask in this episode. Either way, this scene was handled very well, and I felt like I was watching a completely different show based off the last episode, which makes me even more confused as to why they even did what they did in the first place. But with Norman returning, he revealed that he was essentially experimented upon in the Lambda 7214. The demons there drug children and essentially experiment to find the best kinds of luxury meat. But in return, they start to show random mutations like nervous systems and sensory organs going out of whack. Norman was just made to undergo tests, and how he got out was through a Minerva backer being able to destroy the facility and escape with the kids. This backer was named Smee. That is a name. And surprisingly, this person was the one who gave Sister Crone the pin. These were fascinating points, but Norman brings up that he's been able to develop a drug which would see the demons regress and essentially fight each other until they die. This is a focal point for the rest of the episode, as Emma is having trouble as she is the most morally good person in the show. She doesn't want to kill all the demons, as there are demons out there who are good, but also she realizes that demons are doing this just for their own survival, much in the same way humans eat meat. But really, how the fuck did Norman develop a drug? That's a very good question. But what Norman brings up is that the more demons feed on humans, the more features of humans they take, which is something I had theorized about in previous videos. With this being the case, it makes me wonder if this is indeed what happened with Sonju and Mujika, where one of their mutations from eating humans was the ability to not have to eat humans anymore. This could be huge, because if this is the case, then Mujika and Sonju could be the key to curing the demon's appetite for humans, and thus they can coexist peacefully. Maybe this is their goal too. Maybe Sonju and Mujika know that they can help their own kind evolve and mutate certain parts of them so that humans being a food source doesn't have to be a reality anymore. Of course though, with them being heretics in their society, it's obvious maybe they already tried to tell their fellow people, but it was considered too risky and thus they were considered heretics due to their religion. Though, this still doesn't explain why Sonju was practically foaming at the mouth to eat the kid's offspring. Maybe it's just Mujika who has mutated at that point. If that's the case, then it would explain Mujika's interactions with them. Yeah, but, that also makes me wonder why Norman reacted the way he did upon hearing Mujika, the heretical girl, was still alive. Not only that, but it seems they've crossed paths, and the fact he's surprised Mujika is still alive is a massive question mark. What the hell did Mujika do, and why is Norman shivering in his britches because of it? My guess is that Mujika isn't just some wholesome looking humanoid demon girl, rather she's a dangerous demon that is very powerful, though that's just my guess. Then we have Norman's new friends. Cislo, a dude in army garb, Barbara, the demon eater, literally, and Vincent. He's the brains. But by his scar, it seems they maybe upgraded him to a Threadripper. What's interesting about these fellows is that Norman is in charge of them and they consider him the boss. Even more interesting, it seems every single one of them is very gung-ho about killing demons. Even Norman himself, who decides to use biological warfare against them with this mystery drug that he was able to create, which is very different from Emma and Ray, who really just want everyone to coexist. My theory is that Norman's tests weren't just tests, and he also saw a lot of really messed up stuff happen, which made him decide to never forgive the demons. If that is the case, then you could only guess how Norman will conflict with Emma and Ray. Let's just hope it's nothing violent. To talk about these people in Norman's group a little bit more, Barbara is interesting. She in particular hates demons so much that she literally eats them as payback. Yeah, that hunk of meat she's eating is a demon she killed. Cislo is kind of a psycho who just wants to kill them all and has a fond look on his voice when he says it. It's kind of disgusting. Vincent is the brains, but by his scar, it seems they maybe upgraded him to a Threadripper. But either way, based on what Barbara said, they were treated so badly they cannot forgive the demons, so they're in a sense justified for their feelings, I guess. But like I said in the beginning of the video, this episode felt like a massive 180 and a huge load off my shoulders. While this adaptation isn't ideal, if they continue on this path in the last 5 episodes, or at least of this quality, I will be happy with this adaptation overall. Still, it won't stop me from covering the manga in my new series where I'll just be covering all the content from the anime like the Goldie Pond arc, so subscribe for that. Now that doesn't mean that since this episode was good that it won't be bad for the rest of the series or that episode 5 is suddenly great. Episode 5 was so bad it literally derailed the entire series. Do not kid yourself on that one, but I still have some lingering questions, and that is, where the hell is Isabella at? They brought back Isabella in episode 4, and she's still missing from the plot entirely. I hope that she wasn't brought back just to tie up loose ends in the series. I really want to see more of Isabella, and my gut feeling is that maybe we will in the next episode. After all, we have to start developing her character so that we can see more of her conflict with the children. I said this previously, but I think what was whispered into Isabella's ear is that not only will she be freed if she returns all of the children, but she will be freed along with Ray to live happily ever after. Which, if that is the case, is a massive opportunity to develop the more motherly and protective instincts Isabella has. As based off season 1, she obviously loves Ray deeply. Then you also have Ray's side in all this. How does he feel about his mother? Does he love her or hate her? I think the way Isabella and Ray's characters have been set up calls for an highly emotional battle of wits and tactics, but as well a conflict which will see both face hard facts about themselves and their relationship as parent and child, especially for Isabella. To me, I hope there is a future where Isabella and Ray are together like a happy family with the rest of her kids, but something tells me that Isabella may be sacrificing herself for the greater good of the kids, and if that is the case, then so be it, but that would also be very sad. We will have to see though, but I am very happy with this episode, and I hope you all are as well. Put down in the comments what you thought about it, and be sure to subscribe, comment, like the video. As well, for channel members and patrons, I'm putting out an exclusive series on Quintessential Quintuplets creator Negi Haraba's new manga, Ranger Rechecked. Like I said, it's going to be an exclusive new series available only to patron members and channel members on any tier. It will also be available through my Discord server, which is free to join. Links are in the description below. So with that out of the way, thanks everybody for watching. Have a good day. Bye.